Peppa Pig is one of the most watched animated shows in history. Despite that, there are tons of unanswered questions about the show that no one has ever noticed. Like almost all characters in Peppa Pig are seen sideways, regardless of whether they are animals or humans. We only see their side profile. We always see their two eyes, which raises the suspicion that if we were to look at the characters from the front, would they have 4 eyes? In fact, surprisingly, the only characters to not have this feature are vegetables, such as Mr. Potato, who is seen practically facing us, just like the other vegetables. But seeing talking vegetables is even stranger than seeing animals, so if they had 4 eyes, it would certainly be even scarier. In our previous video, we talked about how almost everyone in Peppa's city lives on top of the hills. And in the episode Flood, we find out why. In Peppa's city, it can rain so much that only the hilltops stay above water. But the issue here is, what happens to Rebecca Rabbit's and Molly Mole's house during the flood? As we know, Rebecca Rabbit and Molly Mole live in a burrow, both below the hills. So the question is, what do they do during the flood? Do they leave their house, or is it flood-proof, which I doubt? In the episode The Police Station, we see some posters outside the police station. And one of the posters is a wanted poster. In that poster, we see a fox symbol. By looking at that symbol, the first thing that comes to mind is Mr. Fox. Now, you may not have noticed, but Mr. Fox has the same fox symbol on his van and on various items inside his shop. So, does that mean Mr. Fox is wanted by the police? In our previous video, we talked about a talking potato named Mr. Potato. Well, it turns out there's not just one talking potato, but 2. And one of them, Super Potato, even has superpowers. At first, we thought Super Potato was just Mr. Potato in a cape and red underpants, but they're actually different characters. In the episode Mr. Potato's Christmas Show, we also meet Mrs. Carrot, Blueberry, and Sprout. They're all fruits and veggies with arms, legs, and voices of their own, but they're definitely not meant to be eaten. So, where did these talking vegetables come from? Some viewers think they were created in a lab, where regular vegetables were given life. Super Potato even got superpowers, like flying. Who's behind these mysterious experiments? There have already been more than 300 episodes released of Peppa Pig, but still we haven't seen one individual, and that is Susie Sheep's dad? Who is Susie's dad? As we know, Susie Sheep has been Peppa's best friend since the early days, and she's also one of the most frequently appearing characters in the show. But still, not once throughout all these years of Peppa Pig have we seen her dad, or even any reference of him. Why have we never heard anything about this character, who should be quite important to the series? This becomes even more intriguing considering that the two have known each other since they were little babies, and it's kind of a family tradition since even the girls' mothers are also best friends, which makes it all even stranger. So, who is Susie's dad still remain an unanswered question to this day. What do animals like Dr. Bear, the wolves, lions, and crocodiles eat in Peppa Pig's world? This is a big mystery. Normally, these animals are carnivores, which means they eat other animals. For example, Dr. Bear is a bear, and bears usually eat meat. But in Peppa's world, these animals don't hunt or eat other characters like Peppa and her family. Instead, they live peacefully together. In one of the episodes, Daddy Pig even builds a house for a family of wolves, which is like the story of the 3 little pigs. In that story, the wolf wants to eat the pigs, but here they all get along. The zoo in Peppa City also has a lion and a crocodile, who are usually predators in the wild. So, what do they eat? We don't see them hunting or eating meat, so maybe they eat vegetables and fruits like everyone else in Peppa's world? But if they eat characters like Mr. Potato or Blueberry, who are also alive and talk, would that make them carnivores again? It's a puzzling question, because even though they act civilized, they still have wild instincts inside them. It's quite a mystery to think about. Why are Peppa and George in the same class? As we know, Peppa is around 4 years old, and George is about 2. George is clearly a lot younger than Peppa, but they're in the same class at school. That's a bit odd, isn't it? So far, we haven't got any explanation from the show's creators about this, but maybe George is exceptionally gifted and way ahead of the rest of his grade at school. He seems to be able to do all the things Peppa can do in class, so it's possible that he's a little piggy genius. In Peppa Pig's world, besides talking animals, dancing vegetables, and famous characters, there are also humans. We can see them sometimes, like when someone plays Santa Claus in Mr. Potato's play. Another time, a pirate walks past the police station, and the policeman wonders why pirates never come to them. This shows us that there are three groups of beings in Peppa's world: talking animals, talking vegetables, and humans, though we don't see humans very often. So, where do they live? This is a big question that makes us curious about Peppa's cartoon. Why does Miss Rabbit have so many jobs? She's been a helicopter pilot, shopkeeper, librarian, bus driver, and more. How does she manage all of them? Some people wonder if she has made copies of herself. Maybe Miss Rabbit loves working so much because she lives in a burrow underground while everyone else has a house on a hill. We're just guessing. But it seems like life isn't fair for rabbits like her. And talking about rabbit, how many of them are there, and why do all of them look similar? As all of Peppa Pig viewers know that in Peppa's world, animals live together in society as if they were humans. And they have everything we have in our world, including hospitals, doctors, and nurses. But what's most striking is that the animals themselves have pets, like Grandpa Pig, who has a parrot. But if everyone is an animal, could doctors like Dr. Bear, who treats Peppa when she's sick, also not be considered veterinarians, just like Dr. Hamster? After all, he only treats animals too. But apparently Dr. Hamster only cares for animals that don't behave like humans. So, are these both doctors and veterinarians in Peppa's world? But how can they be different, since they both are treating animals? Since we're talking about a world where almost everyone is an animal, with a few exceptions, could the zoo be considered a kind of prison? In the zoo episode, we see that there are animals like turtles and penguins inside, which implies that only animals that don't have developed intellect and don't act like humans can be in the zoo, just like the animals we mentioned that are the characters' pets. As we know, some animals are carnivores in Peppa Pig's world. One of them is Mr. Lion, who works in a zoo. When the children's teacher comments that not all animals eat vegetables, Mr. Lion smiles and calls Madame Gazelle Madame Mule. This is a reference to one of the animals that lions hunt and devour the most in Africa, indicating that at that moment, Mr. Lion's instincts were making him feel like doing the same thing to Madame Gazelle. Another unanswered question in Peppa Pig's cartoon that surely intrigues a lot is, how do the animals that would be predators feed in the world of Peppa Pig? For example, in the episode where George gets sick and the family calls Dr. Bear, and as we all know, bears are one of nature's biggest carnivores. In this case, a house full of cute and succulent little pigs would be quite an opportunity for him. But of course he is just a doctor and went to the pig family's house just to say what everyone already knew, that George was cold. We noticed that among all, the only character who was frightened by these ferocious animals was Madame Gazelle. So the question is, what do they eat on a daily basis? So these were some of the unanswered questions in Peppa Pig, and as always, we'll see you all in the next video.